Welcome to another edition of the Dakotan Selection Central, where we are comprehensively covering the 2024 North Dakota election cycle. I'm Jonathan Starr. Today, I am joined by a candidate for the District 32 House of Representatives, Phillip Jacobs. Thank you for joining us today, Phillip.
Thank you, Jonathan. It's great to be on.
Absolutely. We are thankful that you are on. Let's dive into the nitty-gritty of the interview that we're wanting to do today, where we just get to know the candidates that are running for office in the various districts of North Dakota. And who is Phillip? When you take politics out of the mix, who are you?
Yeah, well, could be a little hard to take politics out, but I guess when it comes down to it, I am basically a young man with high aspirations to do something with my life. Had a very desire, building for politics, yearning to get involved, taking an educational route there. Had a lot of desire for politics starting in high school, moved on and got my bachelor's in politics at the University of Mary. Then during college, I actually had dreams of doing business one day. So furthered my other education and got my master's in business administration. So, and then kind of ties back into politics because I was a clerk for the Legislative Assembly last year as a House committee clerk. So I guess there's more there.
We can't take politics out of you. It's just part of your DNA and your fiber. Let me ask you this then. If I were to attend Trinity High School in Dickinson, or in 2016 or 2015, who would I have met when I ran into Phillip?
Probably just just a young boy who thinks he's a stud and want to make a name for himself.
There you go. There you go. Well, and so moving from that, when did your inclination start turning towards politics a little bit? When did your interest start growing in politics?
Kind of grew a lot more. Watching. I was always kind of involved in watching how political elections unfolded. I think especially in the elections where Obama won the presidential race, but then the Trump versus Clinton election in 2016, I got very involved. You know, keeping up with current events of how the 2016 election was unfolding. Got to learn a lot of political views. Kind of got to learn, kind of the conservative standpoint on everything, and that's what gave me kind of a desire to get involved in politics, learn about politics, and maybe hold office one day. So
Very
really
neat.
ties back into now.
Yeah, right. It does tie back to now. It's amazing how that happens. But in 2016, kind of that seed was planted during that run. Now, you're young, and this is something that has been pointed out by other news articles. If you Google about Phillip, this is something that will come to mind. But what do you say to the person that says, hey, you're just too young to be in office? You're 24 years old?
Well, I think my generation has a lot of great perspectives on, especially amongst conservatives, on what needs to be done in government, in our communities, in our cities, in our states, and at the national level as well. We are coming of age and learning to see all the kind of the issues that face our state and country today, and it's great that we have a voice where we can make those needed changes and
Right.
set an example for others to follow.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're in probably a competitive district in District 32 in Bismarck, Southern Bismarck. Chick-fil-A's in your district, right?
Yep, yep, it is.
So that's a big time district battle that's going on in Bismarck. So the age, you mentioned that it brings a different voice and stuff like this, but you wouldn't even be the youngest person ever elected to the state legislature, correct?
Yes, I will be older than a couple of legislators who are already in there.
Absolutely. So it's kind of a trend. You're part of a trend that is starting to happen in North Dakota as we see young people actually get involved.
Yep.
Absolutely. So moving on to kind of your issues, why the decision to run in 2024 for District 32 House?
Um, I've seen a lot of opportunity that needs to be capitalized in this district, District 32. And I think there can be a better conservative voice in my district. I think there can be much needed change and have a fresh new face in my district's legislature, and one that representative that listens to constituents, listens to citizens, who has the energy to meet with everyone and take in kind of the perspectives and hear everyone out. One of my goals is to be someone who's working for the genuine good of our state, and not listen to kind of the special interests that say, "Oh, this is the good. You should follow this."
Yeah, I think one of the things you mentioned was listen to the constituents, which is
Yep.
something that people should be doing. Um, do you feel like there's been a disconnect in your district or even in North Dakota as a whole between
Um.
constituents and their legislators?
Yep. And I can say that it is tricky. There is kind of a I would say there is kind of a disconnect, especially being there's not too much of a turnout in my district of voters. So obviously that disconnect is there. We have I have an opportunity to get more people involved in the voting process. And then of course, yeah, I think there is a disconnect between all the constituents of North Dakota and what actually happens in the legislature. Um, some people don't even know who the representation is. Some people don't know when's the best time to have their voice heard, as the
Okay.
legislature only meets 4 months every 2 years.
Right. Yeah, that's an interesting thing. So as you run in this upcoming election, what are some of the key issues that you are campaigning on?
So yeah, so building off, doing what is genuinely good. Um, Essentially, the centerpiece of that is fighting for and working on policy that centers around the family and recognizing that the family is the basic building block of society for human flourishing, what helps us grow our communities and impose good values within our communities. I do want to, I'd be for implementing policies that accommodate that, because concerning like family values, issues with the family today, there's decline in birth rates, breakdown of the traditional family. Of course there is the whole woke ideology and confusion going on in schools and other places, but that wouldn't really exist, I don't think, if we were losing the importance of what the family means today. And I think that's one of the ways of restoring values in our state and country.
You've danced around it, but define what family is.
Family is defined by starts with a traditional marriage between man and women, a man and a woman, and they they are fruitful. They have children. They bear children. They raise those. The parents raise those children to be uh, great great members of our society
Absolutely.
and uh, give back to our community. So,
Absolutely. Very good. So family's an important issue for you. I believe that there's a couple others. Do you mind going over those as well?
oh yeah, I guess I've talked a little bit about education, and it's important to note about having parental rights in education, and because without parental rights, and I do like to call them duties. But without that, without legislation that accommodates that, there's no really recognizing that family is the basic unit of society. Um, then, of course, addressing the rise in crime. I think that is an issue with the border crisis right now. It's certainly an issue with drugs. That stuff, those issues have a negative impact on the family. So that also kind of stems from that.
Right. You're doing
Yeah.
great. Keep going.
Yep. And then another big point, property tax. That's something that I've going door to door collecting signatures, get my name on the ballot. I've heard so many people talk about how property tax just keeps going up. It needs to be addressed.
Yeah.
If the end property tax does not go through, that's definitely going to be kind of a thing to watch and see if that passes, to see where citizens are at about property tax, and if not, see if we can have something kind of maybe a compromise bill if I make it in legislature, and see
Yeah.
if we could do more relief than what we've already done so far.
Property tax is an interesting issue. I don't. Maybe this is one that you've kind of campaigned on more recently after you've heard constituents bring it up. What do you feel about the bill or the attempt to have the resolution on the constitutional measure on the ballot of ending property tax? Are you for or against that?
Right now I am for it. One of the main reasons I am for this is because with a constitutional measure, and I know there are concerns about a loss of local control, and then kind of the unfairness of, oh, someone's high property tax is being eliminated, why, oh, my lesser property tax is gone, doesn't really too much of a good playing field. But I think those issues, a lot of stuff can be uh, addressed in the state legislature before we get to that. So part of passing that measure, that's holding legislators accountable to do the job that their constituents want them to do. So if this does pass, we'll be seeing that happen, because now, oh, property tax is gone. Every legislature that meets for the assembly in 2025 will have to pass legislation that will accommodate that.
Right. But it also brings an interesting dilemma, perhaps, where there is not any amendment or anything like that that can be done to impose a necessary property
Mm-hmm.
tax. Even if the people felt like it was necessary at the time, we'd have to wait. We'd have to have the signatures, get it back on the ballot, have a two-thirds majority vote to allow even just a small
Right.
property tax ever to be collected. Does that concern you?
Now that I think about it, that is something that would definitely be a challenge if we realize, oh, this was a mistake. We have to go back.
Mhm.
It is gonna be difficult. I guess in that regard, if citizens want more property relief or relief from property tax, it could be the better way going forward, passing legislation.
Right. And of course, and as you know, and as been the story that we've heard a lot, this is not the first time there's ever been an attempt to end property tax. The legislature has had the opportunity to do this before with legislation, and there's nothing been done. And so this seems like the first time that there's been a lot of steam behind
Hmm.
something that will have a long-term effect. So it is definitely an interesting topic. Property taxes is, but that property tax reform, crime, drugs, establishing a moral education and family. That's kind of your key uh, platform items.
Certainly.
Absolutely. Let's change gears for a minute, Philip. Let's jump over to our rapid fire question round. Are you
All right.
ready for the rapid fire questions?
Bring it on.
Bring it on. All right. We'll get the good ones for you then. Pancakes or waffles?
I'd say more of a pancakes person.
Marriott or Hilton?
Oh, I don't. Are these
What's the
hotels?
Here we go. Here we go. Let's change
Okay.
it. That's an unfair one. Go to hotel when traveling.
Oh. Because I am on a budget, finding someone to stay with instead of a hotel might
There
be
you go.
the
See, I
better
like it.
option. So
Well done. Morning person or night owl?
I can't escape my college tendencies to be a night owl.
Introvert or extrovert?
I am introverted.
And yet you're running for
Yep.
this. state legislature. My.
Introverts can do it.
That's right. City life or countryside?
Have to go with countryside there.
Here's a better one for your motel question. Camping or hotel?
Ooh, I need to do more camping. I am an Eagle Scout.
So we're gonna go with camping. Text message or phone call? This is important.
Depends on the situation. Usually,
Well,
I
come on, your
pref-
constituents will
I'll
reach out to you. Text message or phone call?
um, if it's constituents, then phone call.
Phone call. Better conversations. This next question could win a couple votes for you or lose a couple votes for you. It's that
Okay.
divisive. Android or iPhone?
Ooh, Android.
Oh, my.
Sorry.
Good thing I'm not in District 32. Music or podcasts? What do you listen to?
Oh, I do. It's kind of split, but I'm a big music listener.
All right. Rainy day or sunny day?
I'd pick sunny day, unless we
Sunny day.
need moisture. Then
Yeah,
maybe
you
rain.
sound like a North Dakotan.
Yes.
Sunny day or a snowy day?
Oh, sunny day.
Sunny day for sure. Beach vacation or mountain getaway?
Both of them are great. I need to see the ocean one day, so I'm going to say beach.
What's the best thing in North Dakota or about North Dakota?
Peaceful environment.
Very good. You survived our rapid fire question round. Thank you for participating. I think it's fun. Helps us to get to know our candidates a little bit better.
Right.
Jumping back into the hard-hitting questions. What makes you a Republican?
So, I mean, the easy question, I guess, would be I can embrace, the platform. I stand with the NDGOP platform, family values,
Right.
pro-life, limited government, less taxes, very things that come with that are part of my philosophy. But I'd have to say, and it's something actually my parents taught me when it comes to comparing between Republicans and Democrats is Republicans believe that we should be looking out for each other. That doesn't just go for the government, that's for everyone. And government has a little limited role. We do the ones that help other people. Whereas Democrats, they have more the mentality that government is out to solve every problem, resolve everything, and help everyone. And that's the major philosophy I think that I've learned that makes me a Republican. I believe in self-government and lending a hand from people, not just government.
So, are you a Republican by being raised, or do your values most closely fit with that party?
Um,
Does that make sense? So
I would
basically, if the Republican Party is going to change, are you going with the Republican Party, or are you sticking to your values?
I would stick with my values if the Republican Party were to change. Hopefully, we do not see that in the future, but yep, I stand firm.
I think it's an interesting question because what seems to happen a lot of times, and that maybe there's even been a I don't know if it seems to happen, but there's definitely a faction of people that feels like it's happening, and that's where you get Rhino from, and you have people going
Yes.
and voting party line simply because of party. Is that how politics is supposed to be played, or is it supposed to be where you vote based off your values and what you believe is best, not just sticking with the party? At what point do you compromise?
Right. I think especially the moral values, that's the thing where, I mean, I could come off as party line, but I stand firm with those. Um, when it comes to more of the fiscal issues, that's where there can be a little, I'd say, keep it at a minimum. That's where compromise can be made. But still, we have to keep in mind when focusing on this stuff, do what is genuinely good. I stand by my principles on what is genuinely good, but hearing people on those fiscal issues, on how we can best accommodate with services and stuff, um, we have to kind of look out for those
Yeah, very
people
good.
when making those decisions.
There has been a lot of change that has happened in North Dakota politics in the past 8 months, whatever it is now,
Yep.
and especially in the Republican Party, because that is the dominant party in North Dakota
Mhm.
currently. Should North Dakotans be worried? You were at convention. How did it go down? Is this something where we should be like, "Oh no, the world is falling," or
Right.
is it we get to
Uh,
live another day?
well, I guess you could call it a lot of shenanigans going on at the convention. I definitely know there's people who will say that, but definitely a lot of wins for the grassroots movement in the Republican Party. Um, these decisions are made by the people, not by everyone, but the people that showed up, and that was who showed up. That's the grassroots Republicans that want to make their voice heard.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's we're getting into some of the recap of the convention, and there's a lot of interesting things that went down there. And obviously, right now is probably not the time to talk about it. But you feel like the North Dakota Republican Party or North Dakota politics as a whole is trending in a good direction?
I feel like, yeah, it is trending in a good direction. I think people do make a fair point when bringing up issues of the divide within our state party. I hope in the future those issues can be resolved, but aspire for our party to unify firmly under the values that make us Republican and not wander away from those.
How do you see it revolving, resolving, not revolving, but resolving? How do you see it resolving? And whether it's this year, this
Hmm.
legislative session coming, like how can these problems be resolved? Is there a compromise that has to happen on the grassroots side or on this what is being deemed as the establishment side?
Right. I think there can be compromises made on both sides, um, as long as standing firm. I guess, and I think it will apply when we talk about compromises. That's kind of in the how we go about pushing legislation, getting our voices heard, instead of the what we stand for. To that respect, so I guess that's kind of my insight on that.
So the most important date for you right now is June 11th, correct?
Yep.
All right. June 11th at the primary ballot box. Why should somebody vote for you?
Because I am pro family, I will um, be listening to every voice in my district, and I will continue to listen to all those voices in my district and stand firm to the values that make this state great, make our communities flourish, and I will not listen to special interest groups that will go against what is good for North Dakota and take me away from conservative values that I stand firm by and those values that make our state great.
Very good. Well, I really appreciate you joining the podcast today.
Thank you.
If somebody wants to support you, what would be the best way for them to do that?
Okay, so anyone who is wishing to support, you can look up my website, jacobsnd.com. You can reach out through my email at phillip@jacobsnd.com. I do have a Facebook page running as well, Phillip Jacobs for ND House, District 32. And yeah, and you can always call me at my cell phone number as well, listed on my website and on my rack card.
All right. Fantastic. This has been another episode of the Dakota's Election Central, where we are comprehensively covering the 2024 North Dakota election cycle. I'm Jonathan Starr. You can go to mydakotan.com, click Election Central. There you'll find other interviews, just like the one you watched, as well as some other great information. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, subscribe, like on YouTube, become part of the Dakotan community. We would love to have you. There's always room for one more here. Thank you for watching this video, and have a great day.